Namaskar everyone. Welcome to day 5 of our Navaratri satsang. So let us begin with the prayer. Let us do prarthana. By the Guru's grace and the will of Sri Krishna, we have all assembled here for this Navaratri satsang. May we have their guidance to be able to learn and adopt the things which will help us to grow spiritually. मानातीत प्रतित विभवां मंगलम मंगलानां वक्षः पीठीं मधुविजयिनो भूषयन्तीं स्वकान्त्या प्रत्यक्षानुश्रविकमहिमप्रार्थिनीनां प्रजानां श्रेयो मूर्तिं श्रियमशरणत्वां शरण्यां प्रपद्ये। यो नित्यमच्युतपदाम्बुजयुग्मरुग्म व्यामोहतस्तदितराणि तृणाय मेने अस्मद्गुरोर्भगवतोऽस्य दयैकसिन्धोः रामानुजस्य चरणौ शरणं प्रपद्ये. So with prayers to the Acharya, let us begin with our topic for today. So we have been all along talking about the different forms of worship in Navavidha Bhakti. So far, day 1 we covered Shravanam, which is hearing about the Lord. On day 2 we talked of Kirtanam, which is chanting the Lord's name. On day 3 we talked about Smaranam, remembering the Lord constantly. Yesterday we talked about Pada Sevanam, that is serving the lotus feet of the Lord. And today we are going to talk about the fifth Anga of Bhakti, the fifth Vidha of Bhakti, which is Archanam. So Archanam means to offer worship to the Lord. So this is our topic for today. So the person who exemplifies this Archanam is said to be Prithu Maharaj. He is a very great Raja, and in fact it is because of this Prithu Maharaj that this earth or Bhumi Devi is also called as Prithvi. She is considered as the daughter of Prithu and she is called as Prithvi. Right? So who was this Prithu Maharaj? Now the explanation of the story of Prithu Maharaj appears in the Srimad-Bhagavatam. There is actually a lot of back story to it, but we will not have time for the entire description. So what we will do instead is we will take only that part of Prithu Maharaj which is relevant to us. So there was one king called Vena who was ruling over the land, and this Vena was a very bad person. So he was not giving good administration. Everything in the Rajya was, going on in a wrong way. He was not ruling properly. He was very rude to all the rishis and everybody. And then there came a stage where he told that nobody should perform any sacrifices, nobody should do any yajna, homa and all that. And he was overall, that whole kingdom was in a state of anarchy. So the Rishi Munis all went there and they had the idea that they want to try and, advise him. So they went to advise him. But when they advised him also, he kept saying that, no, I'm not, you people, instead of advising me, why don't you start singing my praises? So that was the height of arrogance of this Vena Raja. So the rishis were very angry and they could not bear to see the torture which all the people were suffering in that kingdom. And because of that, they used their tapashakti. They recited some mantras, and by that mantras recitation, that Vena was killed. Then they churned the body of that Vena, and out of that there was a person who came, and that was Prithu Maharaj. Now this Prithu Maharaj is considered as an Amsha of Lord Vishnu himself. So he is one of the avatars of Vishnu, it is told. So in this form as Prithu Maharaj, when he came, then seeing him and seeing his glorious form and seeing his sattvic, form, everybody started singing his praises. All the rishis, all the people who had assembled there, the people of the kingdom, everybody started praising this Vena, the Prithu Maharaj very much. So when they started praising him, immediately Prithu Maharaj tells them that please don't sing my praises. Please don't glorify me. I am not anybody who is important. Besides, I have not yet done anything to show you that I am worthy of the glorification. Even if I do something, it is Lord who should be glorified, not human beings like me, he says. So he puts an end to their glorification of him. Okay. So at the end of that, what happened is that he goes, they, put him on the throne and they start felicitating him, and then he becomes the king and he starts ruling the kingdom. Now the kingdom has got a very sattvic ruler, everything is going on perfectly fine, but yet they find that in that kingdom there are no crops which are growing, there is nothing good which is happening. Although the ruler is good, the people are suffering because crops are not growing, they don't have enough food to eat. So still, although they got a good ruler, the situation has not changed much. So then this Kritu Maharaj is wondering that what is the cause for this. And after he talks to some rishis and all, he comes to know that what has actually happened is that Bhumi Devi, the Mother Earth, has hidden away all the treasures which should have actually been shared with the people, because the previous ruler was a very bad person. So Bhumi Devi has hidden out everything, and because of that, people are not able to get the food that they want. Crops are not growing, rivers are not flowing abundantly, there is no rainfall, and all this cycle of events is happening. So then this Prithu Maharaj goes, looking for Bhumi Devi so that he can convince her that, you please give all the bounty to all our people here. So when he keeps following her, then she takes the form of a cow and keeps running away. And Prithu Maharaj gets increasingly angry that why is she, eluding me like this? And then he's about to shoot an arrow to make her stop. At that time, she begs him that I know that you are angry with me, but please try to understand. Because the previous ruler was bad, I had hidden away all the bounties. But now that you have come and you are, a good ruler, I will give whatever you want. So then Prithu Maharaja arranges in the form that Prithvi is standing in the form of the cow, and he milks her, and all the rishis collect all that. So that is symbolic of all abundance coming back to the earth. And because he then treated the Prithvi, he then treated Bhumi Devi as his daughter. So Bhumi Devi got the name as Prithvi. Now this Raja went on to, become continue as a good ruler. He would always advise people about what they need to do to be on the spiritual path. He would keep on, guiding them in the right direction. And he performed many Ashwamedha Yajnas. And his intention was, why did he do those yajnas? Because at every moment he wanted to keep involving in worship of the Lord. So he was doing Archanam with all his mind and heart. And with that spirit he was doing. But then when he performed the 99 yajnas and he was about to start the 100th one, Indra would come and keep, creating some obstacle in the middle. So then the Lord appears and advises Prithu that you don't need to complete 100. Whatever glory somebody gets by completing 100 Ashwamedha Yajnas, you are going to get that by just, completing this 99. It's fine. The number does not matter. So he listens to whatever the Lord says. And then at some point of time, the Sanat Kumaras come there, he receives them, and very humbly he sits before them, he offers them worship, and then he asks them, please give me guidance about what is the real tattva in this world, what is it that human beings should pursue, what should be the goal of our life, and so on. And they advise him. It is not that Prithu Maharaja does not know all this, he knows, and yet he has that eagerness to keep listening to these ideas from the mouth of realized souls. So because he was such a good ruler that he spent all his time and energy in making his people lead a pious life. He ensured that everybody would do some form of worship. And because of that, that is why he is considered as a symbol for this mode of worship, which we are calling as Archanam. So from this story, we can understand how a good ruler should be. And they say, isn't it, that Yatha Raja Tata Praja. So if the rulers are good, if the ruler is a sattvic ruler, if he is a pious person, then automatically the same kind of environment will grow in that kingdom. So whenever we want to perform puja, as per Archanam vidhi, it involves offering worship to a deity. Now, that Archanam can be done in a temple or it can be done in our house to our deities whom we are worshipping in our house. So, this, what you say, ritualistic approach, that Shodachopachara Puja, it is called as. So, there are 16 steps in this puja. Some small steps may differ here and there, but overall it involves all these 16 steps. Dhyanam, which is meditating on the Lord. Avahanam, invoking the deity to come and be physically present there. Simhasanam, offering an asanam to the Lord, offering a seat. Padyam, washing the feet. Argyam, offering water for the deity's hands. Snanam, bathing the deity. Offering vastram, and offering the yajnopavita. Then offering chandanam, that is sandal paste. Offering flowers, then offering dhupa, deepa. Then naivedya. Naivedya is whatever food you have prepared, you offer it to the Lord. Then tambulam, you offer tambulam to the Lord. Then you light the lamps and you do, sorry, not light the lamps, you do arati. Lighting of lamp has already been done in Deepam. You do the Mangalarati, and after that you do Pranama. So this is the vidhi which is specified for Shodashopachara Puja. Now, wherever it is possible for us, we must try and follow this vidhi. In whatever way it has been followed in my family, I need to keep following that practice, whatever is a part of my family's ritual. So when I keep doing that, right? So what happens? Why I practice this? What is the idea behind this kind of a practice? Right? So worshipping the Lord is the route to attain all prosperity and welfare of the world. Because if I do Archanam, it is not that I am doing it only for myself. Whatever I do, the positive vibrations that are created by my worship, by my sending out positive thoughts, will spread to the entire society and everybody's welfare will be ensured. And when you offer a worship to that form, the Archa form of the deity, it helps us to build a relationship with the Lord. Now, there are some people who say that Lord does not have form, or you concentrate your mind, you focus your mind, you meditate on the formless version of Lord. Now, if there is no form, it is difficult for the human mind to hang on to that concept of what that deity is. So, if I want to form a relationship so that I will continue doing more and more sadhana, then I need to have some anchor to which I'm going to hold on. And that anchor is having a form of the deity whom I'm going to see, whom I'm going to worship, and whom I'm going to build up a loving relationship with. And when we do this, then that murti which we are worshipping is no longer just an object. We consider it as an actual form of the Lord. As it is told, Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha, and Shakti. All these are always together. So wherever there is the form of the Lord, definitely his energy is also going to be there. I don't know if you have heard this story, but there was once a man who kept worshipping Krishna. He had somebody gave him a murti of Krishna. He brought it home, kept it in his puja room, and he kept on worshipping it. He kept on worshipping, but then that person who gave him the murti, I told him, you please do the worship. All your problems will gradually get solved. They will go away. Now, this man kept on worshipping, but then he found that, okay, there's nothing really much that has changed in my life. So he was wondering. Then when he was just thinking, okay, what to do and all that, then at that time, somebody told him, why are you worshipping Krishna? You actually worship Kali because Kali is very powerful. So when you worship Kali, your problems will go away. So then he brings the Kali murti. But now he has to do something with the Krishna murti, which is already there. So he puts it on the attic, on just above his puja room altar, wherever he has kept this Kali. On top of that, he places this Krishna. And then he starts worshipping Krishna. Now his idea is he should worship only, he starts worshipping Kali. So his idea is he should only worship Kali. And he doesn't want to worship Krishna, isn't it? So as he is offering the dhupa and, lighting the udbatti and all that, at that time he suddenly realizes, oh, all this smell is going to rise in the air. And all this will go to that Krishna also who is sitting on top. Then if Krishna gets it, then it will not be correct on my part. I have to only worship Kali, he thinks. And so he climbs onto the attic and he, takes a cloth and he starts trying to tie up that Krishna Murti so that it is not able to get that smell and that all the worship. At that very moment, Krishna manifests there. So he asks him, what is this, Lord Krishna? All these years I was worshipping you and you never manifested in front of me. But now when I brought Kali Murti and I said, I will not worship you, you are manifesting. How is this possible? Why is this? He asks. So at that time, Krishna tells him that all these days you were worshipping, thinking that I am Murti. But today, when you thought that I will get the smell or I will be able to make out, then this is the day when actually you thought that I have a form and I am actually present here. And the minute you realize that I am actually present somewhere, how can I not manifest in that place? Krishna asks. So that is the attitude with which we must do our practice of worship. That imagine that the Lord is actually there. Feel the presence of the Lord. Initially, we will only do mechanically, whether it is puja, whether it is offering mantra, doing arti, whatever it may be. Initially, we will only be doing it very mechanically. But gradually, what should happen is we should go to a stage where we start feeling that this is actually the Lord, and whatever I am doing is my offering to Him. So when we do with that bhav, then we feel endeared to the Lord, right? Lord always loves us. We are His children. He always loves us. But for us to develop the relationship, we must do all these things. And when we do rituals, it is good. We must do the ritual. But we must also remember that the ritual is for the external part. But internally, we need to meditate on the Lord also. And that kind of a combination is what will purify our antakaran. Because if you only say we will do meditation, then there is no anchor for that meditation. If I say I will only do external ritual, then there is nothing which is happening, changing inside me. So when I combine the two of them, the external ritual plus the internal meditation on the Lord, then the combination of this is what will take me ahead. And the worship of the Lord through Archanam, it will engage all our senses, isn't it? We keep doing one after the other. We are offering Dhupa, Deepa, we are offering Chandana, we are getting the smell of that Chandana, we are getting the smell of the Tulsi which we have offered to the Lord. So all our senses are engaged in worship of the Lord. And by such kind of an engagement, there is Shuddhikarana of our senses and we turn to be more sattvic. So when we are doing worship, we have to try and offer the Lord whatever best is possible from our side. What is it that the Lord expects from us? He doesn't want anything actually. In the Bhagavad Gita, in the 9th chapter, the 26th sloka says, Patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhaktyupaharitam ashnami prayatatmanaha. If anybody offers with devotion, the smallest of things, what are those? A leaf, a flower, a fruit, or even just plain water. I take that item very delightfully. With lot of joy, I take that item. Because what is important to the Lord, not the item which you are offering to Him, but the love with which you have offered, the affection with which we offer to the Lord, that is what is going to please Him. So even if you offer something, now we all know the examples of Putana. Putana came to kill the baby Krishna and she offered him poisoned milk. But even that the Lord accepted. So definitely you and I, we are not going to offer Him anything which is bad, isn't it? So whatever we offer with a genuine spirit, with love for the Lord, that He will accept with a lot of joy. And the second thing, one is during the Archana, during the worship, what we are offering, that is one part. But what else?
Can I tell one example?
Yeah, you can tell at the end, Puta. Huh? We will tell at the end. So the next thing that the Lord expects of us is that whatever you are doing, right? In the very next shloka in the 9th chapter, the Lord says, Yat karoshi, yadashnasi, yat juhosi, dadasi yat tapasyasi kaunteya, tat kurushva madarpanam. O Kaunteya, O Arjuna, whatever you are doing, right? Whatever activity you are performing, whatever you are eating, whatever you are offering into the sacred fire, whatever you are giving as a gift to somebody, you are doing dana, or whatever tapas you are doing, whatever austerities you are performing, O Arjuna, do it as an offering to me. So this is the spirit with which we must do Archanam. So doing puja, worship to the form of the deity, that is one part. But that spirit has to permeate into all the work that I do. And I need to think that whatever it is that I'm doing, that is my offering to the Lord. If I'm talking to somebody, then if I start thinking that this talking of mine is also an offering to the Lord, then automatically the kind of things that I talk will change, isn't it? If I am giving some donation to somebody, without our knowledge, there will be a sense of pride that creeps into us that says, I am the giver. But if I think that it is the Lord who has given me and I am giving to somebody as just a madhyam of the Lord, then what will happen? If I do that dana as an offering to the Lord, then my spirit will change. I will no longer have the pride, isn't it? So when we do with such spirit, the work we do also, we will try and do it very well because we are doing it as an offering to the Lord. So this is what the Lord expects of us. Now, how can we practice Archanam? The different examples which are there, Shabari, Trivakra and the Malakar in Mathura. There is a tailor called Parameshti and there is one Mata Karmabai. They are all great bhaktas. We all know the example of Shabari, isn't it? So Shabari waited for years together with the blessings of her Rishi, who was Matanga Muni. She waited and waited and waited for Rama to come. And finally, when he came, she gave him fruits. Now, what she had done, she wanted to make sure that she was giving the most tasty fruit to the Lord. She bit the fruit and she gave it to him. Now, did the Lord bother that she had, her saliva was on that fruit? No, he accepted it. Why? Because, as we saw already, he is seeing the spirit with which you are offering. The bhakti in Shabari is what was actually wanted by the Lord. The item she was offering was not of much value. He took what she wanted, what she was giving, because of that intense love with which she was giving. So, like Shabari, we must practice Archanam. That with lot of love, we must give whatever we are giving. Now, just because Shabari tasted the fruits and gave, now we cannot say that I will eat something and then offer it to the Lord, isn't it? Because I am not at the level of Shabari. Shabari did Nam Jap and she did meditation on the Lord for so many years. She was a highly exalted soul. And it is okay for her to offer the Lord like that. But we must not do that. We can take the attitude of Shabari, but we cannot copy the actions of Shabari and say, I will eat something first and then taste it and then give it to the Lord. We must not do that. Then the example of Trivakra. When Krishna and Balaram come to Mathura, just before the killing of Kamsa takes place, at that time, this Trivakra, she is a hunchback, a lady who has a deformed structure. And she is going with a lot of sandal paste in her hand to offer it to Kamsa. Krishna sees her and says, give me also some sandal paste. So first she offers one, particular kind of paste. She has different varieties of paste. She gives one variety. Then Krishna says, this is not very nice. You give me one of the good ones. So then she gives something else. Then Krishna says, you look at my form and looking at me, you decide which one you want to give. So then she finds the most superior variety because she has that Shraddha in her heart. She can make out looking at him that he is somebody who is special. She sees some divine glow in him and she gives the best kind of, chandan that she had. And then the Lord says, thank you very much. And he just he holds her chin and he puts his foot on her leg and he pulls her upward. And by a miracle of the Lord, that hunchbacked, that deformed body is now straightened and Trivakra becomes the most beautiful woman. That is the grace of the Lord. She offered whatever she had, the best of what she had, and he was pleased with that. Similarly, there is a Malakar who was there in Mathura. He was living in some tiny gully somewhere, where nobody knew. But Krishna knew that he was a bhakta. And Krishna went in search of him. And he asked that Malakar, that you give me a mala, give me a garland to wear. And that Malakar, what he did, the very best of garlands which had been prepared actually to offer to the king, he took that and he placed that around the neck of Krishna and one for Balarama also. Seeing this spirit, Lord Krishna blessed him that tell me what you want, I will give you that. He said, I want nothing. I just want the joy of having offered you something. So that should be our spirit also in doing Archanam. That we should worship not like a bargaining, set of interaction with the Lord, that I will give you this, you give me this back. No, with love for the Lord, with the pure thought that I'm offering the best that I can for the joy of the Lord. That should be my spirit with which I do Archana. Then the example is told of the bhakta called Parameshti. Now this Parameshti was a bhakta, he was living in Delhi, okay, and the Sultan was there. Now once the Sultan got some very beautiful satin cloth, velvet cloth, and he gave it to this Parameshti, who was the royal tailor. So that Parameshti used to stitch all the clothes for that Sultan. So he gave it to him and said, see this velvet, it is meant to be made into a pillow cover. So you please make two pillow covers with this. And Parameshti takes it and he starts cutting out, he measures and he makes and everything. And as he is measuring all this, no, he gets the thought in his mind. At that time, it was the Jagannath Ratha Yatra was going on in Puri, in Orissa. So he is in Delhi, but in his mind, he's thinking that so nice this velvet material is. How I wish I could offer it to Lord Jagannath at Puri. It would make such a nice soft pillow for Jagannath, he thinks. And then he has that thought and then he goes to sleep. The next day, the Sultan says, okay, bring the pillow covers if they are ready. He goes to take it and he's looking and there's only one pillow cover. One more pillow cover has disappeared. So then he's wondering what happened. But he doesn't know. Anyway, he goes to the Sultan with that one cover and he narrates the whole thing to him. Okay. So that Sultan gets very angry and he says, throw this man in the prison. How dare he defy the king and, do all this. He has lost the other pillow cover. He's telling that it has disappeared. All. So they put him in the jail. And because he's a Bhakta of Jagannath, he's just chanting Jagannath's name and he's happily sitting in the prison cell. But this king, he goes to sleep and he gets a dream in the night, in which Jagannath comes and tells him that why are you torturing my Bhakta? Actually, that pillow came to me. I took that pillow because mentally this Parameshti had offered it to me. So it belongs to me. I took it because he offered it to me. And the king wakes up, with a shock and he says, oh my God, if this is the power of this man, then better I not get into any kind of a problem with him. So he rushes there and he bows down to that Parameshti and he says, please, I'm sorry that I made this mistake. You are free to go. So they let Parameshti go. Next day, people go to Parameshti's house. He is nowhere to be seen. Probably he must have gone off to Jagannath Puri. We don't know. So like that kind of an offering with that spirit, that whatever is the best that I have to offer to the Lord. That spirit we should have. And then the spirit of Mata Karmabai. She was a lady who used to make khichdi. Okay. And every day she would offer that khichdi to the Lord at Jagannath. So it is told that Lord Jagannath, he is having chappan bhog, isn't it? He has all those 56 items which are offered as prasad to him. But before consuming all that, he would come to her house, eat her khichdi, and he would go back to the temple and then take what was ritualistically offered to him. One fine day, the priest saw that there was something sticking on the clothes of Lord Jagannath, and he is surprised. Then Jagannath tells him, why are you surprised? This is the khichdi which my mother has offered to me. So this way, the Lord is looking for the devotion of the devotee and not merely for the objects and whether they are offered in the right manner or in what manner. As bhaktas, it is our duty to try and offer in the best way possible without, crossing the lines which are told to us. But we must remember that it is our attitude, our spirit of offering, which is most important for the Lord. So some action points which we can think about with regard to Archanam. So whatever is told in your sampradaya, whatever is told in your community, the mode of ritualistic worship of puja, we must perform that. We need not emulate somebody else. We need not copy somebody else. Whatever in my family, what is told, that kind of a worship I must prepare. I must perform. If for some reason I'm not able to perform the physical worship, then I should offer the worship mentally. Whatever food I eat, before I eat the food, I must offer that to the Lord and only then I must consume it. So when we consume food like this, then what is the idea behind this? Once you have offered it to the Lord and he has glanced on it, Lord is not going to physically eat, isn't it? But when he glances at that food, then his grace has fallen on that food. And then when I take that food, it becomes prasad. And that prasad will help to increase my sattvikata. It will make me more pure and it will make me capable of doing more and more bhakti. Anything else which does not have the Lord's glance of it on it is considered impure. Like during the Ramayana, there is an episode where Lakshmana goes to remind Sugriva that it is time for you to start taking action to help us find Sita. So at that point of time, after Lakshmana goes in a very angry mode, then they pacify him and all that. But at that point of time, they offer some food to Lakshmana. Lakshmana says, anything which has not been eaten by my Rama, I will not eat that. I will consider that food to be polluted food if it has not first been offered to my Rama. So that was the spirit of Lakshmana. And with that spirit, we must also offer whatever food we can. It may be a glass of milk. We have already said it may be a glass of water. It may be the rice that I cook early morning, whatever it may be. When I am clean, when I have had my bath and I am in a pure state, I offer that food to the Lord and then I consume that as prasad. So whatever I have, the best possible items only I can give to the Lord. And once I have, let us say I have offered to the Lord. Let us say I make upma and I offer upma to the Lord. Then after that I take it and I am going to consume it. Now when I'm eating it, I find that the salt is little less. Should I add more salt into that and eat it? No, I have given it to the Lord. He has eaten it. Then what has been consumed by him is good enough for me. If I want to only think about the taste of the food that I'm eating, then I'm going to get lost in that sense of taste only. That is where I will remain stuck. But if I want to go beyond this attachment to my tongue, then I need to learn to eat food the way it is as the Lord's prasad without trying to modify it. Similarly, another aspect of this archana is whatever activity we are doing. We said already, no, Lord said, Yat karoshi, yadashnasi, whatever you are doing, all that you offer to me. So, what is the practical way to do that? Before I perform any activity in my daily life, the fruit of that action I must offer to the Lord. That is when the fruit comes. But before I do the activity, I must keep praying to the Lord that please bless me to be able to do this in a good way. Please guide me so that I'm doing it in the best way possible. Please be with me so that I'm having the ability to perform this task. When we start praying like this and we consider that I am a madhyam, the Lord is the one who is doing it. I'm just the instrument in the middle for this work to be done. Then what will happen is our attachment to that work, our attachment to the outcome of that work will reduce. And naturally, as a result of that, all our stress will start reducing. And the sense of ego that I have, that I am the doer, that I did this, that ego will also start reducing. And it will lead to greater peace of mind and it will lead to greater offering to the Lord. So that way we will progress in our sadhana. So before every activity that we do, we must pray. And after we have performed that activity, we must thank the Lord also for that, for getting it done through us. So in this way, we must progress in our form of worship, which is Archanam. So today we have, just to sum up, we have covered the topics of, we saw the story of Kritu Maharaj, how he was so good in Archanam, how he offered everything to the Lord and did everything as an offering to the Lord. Then we talked about Shodashopachara Puja, in which there are 16 steps through which Archanam can be done. Then we talked about the need to perform Archanam and how having the spirit that the Lord is actually present in that murti will help us to develop a loving relationship with him. Then we talked about what is it that the Lord wants. The simplest of things, whatever is the item does not matter. It is the bhava, it is the bhakti with which you are offering it. That is what is important. Then we talked about how every activity that I perform should be done as an offering to the Lord. Then it will not bind us in this world. We saw the examples of Shabari, Trivakra, the Malakar, Parameshti the tailor, and Mata Karmabai. How they all practiced offering the best that they had to the Lord. And then we talked about the action points, that how we must do whatever puja is specified in our family. How if it is not possible to do physical puja, we may do mental puja also. How we must offer our food to the Lord and consume that as his prasad. How we must try to remove our attachment to the taste, and how we must pray before every activity, offering all that we do to the Lord to get rid of our ego. So these are some of the things we talked about today. Let us pray that Krishna will bless us to be able to do this, to adopt this in practice, in an effective manner. Now we will offer Kritagnyata, and after that Sankirtana will tell what she had to say. So let us offer Kritagnyata, gratitude at the lotus feet of Mata Mahalakshmi, Shri Krishna and Guru for inspiring us to start and join this satsang. And let us pray that their blessings and grace will always be on us. Namaskar. Yeah, Sankirtana, are you there? You can unmute and talk. Sankirtana, are you there?
Yes.
Yeah, tell what you wanted to tell.
Everybody knows the story of Sudama. So when Krishna and Sudama were studying in the Gurukulam, but one day they were sent to collect the firewoods from the forest. That day they did not get some firewoods, and it became night. Their guru's wife had given some food to Sudama to eat if they get late. Sudama thought, if I give it to Krishna, he will eat everything. I will only eat it. After he said Krishna gone away, he ate everything that her guru's wife had given.
Okay.
And after both had gone married, that is why Sudama was poor. And once he got to Dwaraka and gave some food, he became rich. So when we eat without offering the God, we will get any stick in the problem. That is the moral of the story.
Okay, very nice. Thank you so much for telling us this story, Sankirtana.
Thank you.
Yeah. What she told is a very relevant story, isn't it? She's explaining the backstory of why Sudama was poor. What caused that daridrita for him? Because at the time when they were in the Gurukul, he had refused to share something with Krishna. He tried to hide that Bengal gram from Krishna. And because of that, it is told that later in his life, he had to undergo so much poverty and trouble. But the good thing about Sudama is that although he was in trouble, he did not go and beg from Krishna that give me this, give me that. He went with a lot of love for Krishna as his friend.
This story was told by my teacher in the school.
Very nice story your teacher has told. Thank you, Sankirtana. So from that, we must remember that this is the attitude with which we must do our offering to the Lord. Thank you, Zarnaji, saying thank you, Sankirtana. So now the meeting is going to end shortly. Does anybody have anything to add? Okay, in that case, we will stop here for today and we will continue our next part of the Navavidha Bhakti in tomorrow's session, same way at 8 p.m. Thank you very much, everybody, for regularly joining in. So we will meet tomorrow. Namaskar. Namaste.
Ansuya ji.
Thank you. Namaste, everybody.